Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Post 20 podcast. My name is Evan. I am joined, as always, by my co host, Matt. What's going on this week, Matt?
Not too much. Another week flies by, and we're one step closer to some big soccer games going on. Quick shout out to the U.S. men's national team. A couple nights ago, beating Mexico in the CONCACAF Nations League final. Right? I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
This shit was crazy, dude. Everybody's saying that was like the most intense game that had everything in it. Uh, and we were up to like 1 in the morning. That game was absolutely unreal.
Yeah, it was wild. That was awesome. I mean, it's nice to see. I know earlier this week or not this week, like earlier this year, I had some choice words for the U.S. men's national team, but it's good to see a nice
Yeah.
bounce back. I mean, this is certainly a different team than what we're used to watching. A team of a team of yesteryear would never even come close to exhibiting the level of grit and also talent that this young team did against a Mexico side who are pretty strong. And I know it's not like we won the World Cup or anything like that, but it's a start. It's a start, and
Beating
um,
Mexico is always like a
yeah,
huge feat.
that's the second time in the last like 6 or 7 years, I think. Well, we took a gold cup from them
Yeah.
in 2011. Like it's been a
Mm.
really long time, and I think, I mean, Mexico pretty much dominates Concacaf.
Yeah.
So they're the second largest nation besides the U.S. So it was really nice to see.
Yeah, I was saying like during the game, I was like the watching CONCACAF is completely different than watching other nations when they
Oh,
play. There's like
it's
a
something.
lot it's a lot more like drawn out, like just go blow for blow, whereas like say European is more tactical and situationally aware, where those guys are just like, let's fucking go all in, give everything we got and whatever we can do to win.
Yeah. So interesting. Good stuff from the U.S. men's national team, and we're going to use that to transition right into the rest of our show. It'll be a quick one, guys. Matt and I both have places to go and things to do. So we are going to predict, or at least provide you our predictions for the Euro 2020. UEFA has decided to keep the name Euro 2020, even though it's going on in 2021. I figured it would be worth mentioning that they will be keeping the scheme of every 4 years. So even the next Euro will be in 2024. It's not like it gets pushed back to 25. So that's a good thing. I know it's not great for the players because they're going to be more worked, but good for us as the viewer. We don't have to wait an extra year.
Yeah.
With that being said, is there anything you want to say before we get into group stage predictions?
Yeah, I think the main thing I've been seeing a lot is player fatigue, where
Yeah.
a lot of these bigger players play for bigger clubs and had drawn out seasons more than others. Like a lot of those English players, where there was City, Chelsea, United. There's gonna be a lot of players for these big nations, mostly that we might see have injury problems. We already saw Trent Alexander-Arnold for England get hurt in a friendly. He's out for the Euros now, 6 weeks. It wasn't anything too crazy, so he'll be back for the beginning of the Premier League, thankfully. But I think we might see a few of those instances that are going to be unfortunate, but I definitely see happening throughout this tournament.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I mean, that's certainly a huge factor, especially after this year where everything was just so crammed tight. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. I know it like that will matter for a couple of the larger teams, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we go. So Matt and I are doing the tournament predictor on gaming.uefa.com. So it's an offshoot of UEFA's like regular tournament predictor, I guess. We'll be doing the group stage, and then I think there's the knockout predictor comes next, but
Yeah.
like it won't let us access that yet.
Yeah, we have to pick the teams in each different slot, and then it'll fill her out then.
Okay. All right. So in Group A, we have Switzerland, Turkey, Wales, and Italy. Um, I think Italy should top this group. They certainly have the strongest team. They have a younger team than they've had in years past, but you also have a number of veterans, including Chiellini and Bonucci, who are back there shoring up the defense. That's really important. It's always the defenses, I think, that matter most in international competition. I feel like the teams that win the World Cup and Euro typically have very strong defenses. If you look at Portugal, who won the last Euro, they had a strong defense. They had, Pepe back there captaining, and that was before he had left Madrid. And he was a huge factor in that tournament run. So for me, I
Right.
think Italy tops the group. I think Wales are the team to come second. They had a decent qualifying run, and I just don't think I have enough confidence in Switzerland and Turkey as international federations to top the or even come in the second spot. So I'm
Right.
gonna put Switzerland third, and Turkey will be fourth.
Yeah, I'm a little different. I don't think Wales has enough firing power. I think Gareth Bale is their main attacking threat there. Obviously, they have the likes of Daniel James, young Harry Wilson on the squad, and then they have the experience of Aaron Ramsey, Joe Allen, and some other guys in the back.
My
Wayne
guys.
Hennessy in goal. A little throwback there to Palace days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I agree with you with Italy up front first. I think they might have to really rely on certain guys going forward, like your boy Ciro Immobile. That guy's an absolute
Yeah,
stud up
he's a
top,
demon,
but
dude.
he's going to need support from the likes of Insigne, and I think their downfall might be some might say their strength is their experience, but with experience they kind of lose their legs
That's
with
true.
Chiellini and Bonucci. So in these knockout rounds, if they make it through, I think speed might be their downfall. Plus, their midfield isn't very bulky. They'll have Jorginho and other likes of from Italian players in there that I'm not too convinced about, but yeah, Italy first, Turkey last. I agree, and then I'm gonna flip flop what you said. I'm gonna go Switzerland second and Wales third. But I do think Wales will get enough points to make it through as one of the top four teams that finished third.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair enough. I could definitely see that all happening.
Yeah.
Moving on to Group B, certainly a more challenging group. Um, what's the deal
Well,
with De Bruyne before we get into this? Because he is supposed to, I think, miss the first like two fixtures.
yeah, I think he'll be out for most of the. He's definitely gonna miss the first game. They're definitely gonna try to rush him back. But I think they definitely can get through the knockout round without him.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Even though he was named the PFA Player of the Year and he had such an influence on that Man City team. And I think Roberto Martinez is definitely going to want him back because he is a centerpiece of that team going forward.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they have enough going forward without him to get through these three teams, especially. I think they kind of lucked out. Their group and Group C is kind of like the easiest on paper for me.
Yeah.
Um, Denmark, Russia, and Finland. I have Finland coming last. Not too much going on there from those guys. Sorry, but enjoy your time. Belgium top easily. I think they'll win at least two of these matches.
Mhm.
And then it's kind of tough for me because Denmark is a team I'm not really too familiar with. Obviously, you have Eriksson, who's kind of faded out of relevancy. He made after his move from Tottenham to Inter, hasn't really done that much club on the club level, but they have the likes of Schmeichel in goal. They got that Joachim Anderson, who had a great year for Fulham,
Yeah.
even though they got relegated. Christensen's there. I think this is going to be a breakout tournament for him because he's a guy built on confidence, and I think him leading that back line will help him coming back to club level. I'm really looking forward to him. And then other than that, their attack's kind of lackluster for me. They have Braithwaite there
Paulson
for
too. Yusuf
Barcelona.
Paulson's a fucking absolute
Yeah,
monster
they
demon.
have a couple hidden gems there, and then a player to look out for is Casper Dahlberg from
Hmm.
Ajax, 23-year-old.
Yep.
He's definitely somebody that if he can have a great tournament, he'll make a big money move.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Denmark second and Russia third.
Yeah, so I think we actually have the same thing there. Hoiberg's another player to keep your eye on. This will be
Hmm.
a good stage for him, I
He's an
think.
absolute rock. He's
Yeah,
a rock.
he is. This will be a really interesting tournament to see how he plays. I think the group stage, especially coming up against some of these like shittier teams like Russia and Finland, who are kind of a mess.
Yeah.
He should be able to exhibit some of his skill in the middle of the park. So as for me, Matt has covered a lot of the same feelings, same sentiments that I
Hmm.
have. Belgium, I have 1, Denmark 2, Russia 3, and Finland 4th. I don't think Finland has enough in the tank to really compete in any sense in this tournament. I guess Timo Pukki will be playing. I'm sure he's on
My
the
goodness.
I'm sure he's on the
Yeah,
uh
he's on the
f-
roster.
the Finnish team. I literally can't even think of who else would be on that team. Like, let's
Yeah, I
see.
can't. They have Lucas Hideki, who I believe plays in the Bundesliga in
Yeah,
goal.
yep. Oh
Um,
my
other
God,
than
Glenn Kamara is on the Finnish national team.
yeah,
Rangers. All right,
mhm.
so not a ton of names here, right?
It's a solid team. It's just they're very not very focused in on the media. They're not represented well across the big leagues.
Yeah.
So they could be a very big dark horse. I think the best they could finish is in one of those third place positions.
Yeah, so the Russian national team, I want to quick say about some of those guys. They do actually have some decent players. Golovin, he's decent. They have Zuba, who's was pretty good in the World Cup, and then you have guys like Smolov, who's really pacey. And then you have a couple of other decent players. Mario Fernandez, solid defender. And Cheryshev, who's been playing for literally 4 million years. I'm sure he'll be there back there defending
Yeah.
as well. I just don't think there's anything like super of note. If you see any overperformance, it's going to be from their attacking third. So we'll have to see. It's possible that they upset a team like Denmark. I don't necessarily think I can see them winning against Belgium. They're just so strong all over the place,
Yeah.
and even missing KDB, if they decide to slot Mertens in there, or if they decide to play um, Tielemans further up, like they have so many options. That Belgian team, like I think they could actually compete for the title of European champions. So we will have to see. That team
Yeah.
is mega solid, and they're managed by a great manager, of course, Roberto Martinez. You mentioned him.
Hmm.
So yeah, Belgium, Denmark, Russia, Finland. That's the order for me.
Okay.
Group C, we have Austria, Macedonia, I believe that flag is, the Ukraine, and then the Netherlands. This one's really straightforward for me. The Netherlands are actually the only team that have like a really established world footballing reputation already. They do have some World Cups, obviously some fantastic players in the past. Some of my favorites, Bergkamp being one. I think they are the ones that top the group here. I have Austria in second. A couple decent players that we'll talk about when you're done giving your prediction. And then I think the Ukraine come in third, with Macedonia coming in fourth. I know Macedonia beat Germany in World Cup qualifying, like, I don't know, what was it, like 2 months ago. That was a fluke. I didn't see anything from North Macedonia that made me feel like they would be some sort of upset threat. And I know the Netherlands haven't been fantastic in terms of performance in a national sense recently. But I do think that they should be able to top this rather weak group.
Yeah, I agree with your rankings. I have them the same exact way. I'd say for I'll talk on Austria real quick with their squad. David Alaba
Yep.
leading the squad. Got his big move to Real Madrid, getting paid a fortune. He's their main headliner for the squad. Excuse me. They have like a pretty standard team. A well-rounded age gap here, middle of the road. Arnautovic is their main guy up front.
Yeah, I haven't
32
seen him
years
play in
old.
forever.
Yeah, not too much going forward. I'd say they're a well balanced team. Nothing popping off the paper here, but
Sabitzer's really good too, actually. Like he's fantastic.
yeah, there's definitely a few guys. Baumgartlinger, he's been a guy in the Bundesliga for a long time. Like you
Hmm.
said, Sabitzer.
Yeah.
In the back, they have Liner, one of the fullbacks. There's a couple guys they have. Dragovic. They're a solid team. Most of them play in that Bundesliga area. But they're definitely a team that can really grind out results and could definitely lock in that second. And if they play their cards right, they get a draw against Netherlands and maybe Ukraine or North Macedonia could pull an upset on them. They could definitely finish first.
Yeah. All right, cool. We will move on to Group D if you don't have anything else for C.
Um, I'd say for the Netherlands, they're definitely a team I don't see going a long way.
Yeah,
I don't think they have a deep enough squad. A lot of young guys that haven't really played in any of these tournaments yet, like De Ligt. I think this will be his first Euro appearance. Uh, Aka, I didn't even realize he's 26. He'll be in the squad. Their midfield, it looks solid. I think this could be breakout time for Donny van de Beek if he gets his minutes in with Frankie de Jong and Wijnaldum, who just got his move to PSG over Barcelona and Bayern. I thought that was an interesting choice. And then they have Memphis Depay up top, who over the years has really developed himself and has found himself in the French league. But at the same time, I know your opinions on the French league, Farmers League.
it is a
But
Farmers League, but I love Memphis. Don't get it twisted.
But yeah, he's a solid player. He's at the age of 27. He's really found himself as a player, and I think this could be a solid year tournament for him to show the world that he is a top player.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think so too. And it seems like he's looking for a move. PSG seems to be the landing spot for him.
Yeah, not going to be able to hold Mbappe, so they'll get their paycheck for him and splash.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ukraine, I literally know nothing about. And North
Yeah.
Macedonia, like I said, I mean, is it even worth covering them?
Hmm.
It's always fun to see like those really tiny countries get an upset win, so it'll be cool to
Yeah.
see. I'll be rooting for them regardless. I don't really have any rooting interest in the Netherlands or Austria. So this is one of those groups where I literally have no stock. Like none of my favorite
Right.
players or players I support, or I don't have any heritage there. So yeah, we'll move on to Group D. Now this could be an interesting group. I do
Yeah.
think that it's hard for me to say that I am certain that England will be at the top of the group, but I actually think because of the youth that they have in this squad, which was not present in the last European squad, I think that they can actually top Group D. So I have England first, Croatia second, because Croatia is aging now. You know, they had a great performance in the World Cup, but they are aging and they did lose.
Right.
So I have England first, Croatia second, Scotland third, and the Czech Republic fourth.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't too sure about the bottom two in their order.
Yeah,
I feel like Scotland can pull off some low upsets here. They have solid players with
yeah,
Kieran Tierney. They got Liam Cooper from
my guy.
Leeds, McTominay in the middle of the park with Billy Gilmore. He made the squad. Good to see from him. And then
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize Che Adams is Scottish.
Yes.
So they have definitely a team to really build around there. But I don't know if it's going to be enough because I have them third right now and checking last. Only the top four third place teams move on to the knockout stage. So they're going to need at least one big result over Croatia and England to get enough points. I think any third place team that gets 4 points is guaranteed to move on, but I don't know if they can pull it off. That maybe over Croatia, but the England squad on paper for me is probably like top three in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those like they're in their window, right? You
Yeah.
know the term, right? The window. And they're in
Hmm.
their win now window, and if they don't right now, they might have like one more tournament. They might have the World Cup next time to capitalize on Kane's prime. But then once he starts to go out of his prime and they're looking for a new striker, everything will fall apart. And that's always what happens really with England. Um,
Yeah.
we heard that it's coming home last World Cup. It didn't come home. They got knocked the fuck out. But I think that they are actually here to do a job in this tournament. I think they're solid all over the park. Really, the goalkeeper thing is the only thing that I think could be a problem, but we'll see. I think Dean Henderson will be the starter, right? That seems to be what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's been named the number one, and I'll say this: all their midfield and forwards on the roster. There's only there's only three of them out of the 13 of them that are above the age of 25. So they
Yeah,
have a very young
young
attack.
squad. Yeah,
So it's going to be very interesting. A lot of these guys, like, I mean, you have Phil Foden, Saka, Bellingham, Mason Mount, Jaden Sancho's 21. He's younger
yeah.
than Mount.
That
Like
pace
they
is
have,
going to be fucking blistering.
the hardest thing for Southgate is going to be what is the right formation and what is the right player set. Because I mean, you can make an argument for almost every one of these players to be in the starting 11.
I would just throw
Uh,
9 players forward and let them go.
exactly. It's like I'm sure they'll come out in a standard 4-3-3 and play out of that because Harry Kane plays best alone up top.
Yeah.
He's a good facilitator to the wingers, which I'm sure Rashford will be one of them guaranteed. But
Mm.
there's so many different things you can go with. So I'm very excited. I don't think their first game is until Monday or something.
Yeah.
Because the first games are this Friday. So I'm really excited to see how he comes out.
Yeah, that team is so deep. I just don't see I don't see any other outcome than England being on top of that group.
They open up Sunday at 9 a.m. against Croatia. So we're
That's
gonna see
awesome.
right out of the gate how certain are they.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, Croatia, like I said, quickly. I'll go over, some of their aging players. You have Modric, who is the heart and soul of that team for sure. And then you have a couple of other guys, Mandzukic. He's another one. He was decent in the World Cup, but he's certainly getting up there. You have Rakitic aging, Perisic aging, Kovacic. He's a really solid player in the middle of the park. And then you have some other guys. Brozovic is another one, midfielder. I'm not necessarily convinced about their defense, but they do have some other solid players up top. Petkovic is one, and then Orsic, who plays for Dynamo Zagreb, I think. He's a really dynamic, super quick, super snappy player. Keep your eye out for him. I'm actually surprised he hasn't gotten a move to one of the bigger leagues yet. But yeah, I think that they can certainly get themselves into second. But an upset by Scotland or 2 upsets by Scotland, yeah, you never know. Their win window is certainly over, in my opinion. But we'll have to see. Group E is up next. Now, this is the only group where I have actual stock. Sweden is the team that I'm rooting for. I am half Swedish. Ireland didn't make the tournament because they suck, and they always manage to fuck it up. Just like the U.S. failing to qualify. So Sweden, my guys, they are the ones that I'm rooting for. Now, this is a really tough group. It's not the group of death. I'd say Group F is the group of death. That's the last one.
Sad.
Press F to pay respects, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really, really hard group. Now, Sweden played excellent in the World Cup. They overperformed for what they had, for sure. They were very
Did they make
solid.
it into the?
They
Did
were
they
in the
make the final
quarters.
8?
Yeah, they were in the quarters. They beat Germany, and I was at work. Dude, it was one of the most electric games ever. I wore my jersey to work. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was still big back then. I had my full beard, too. I looked like a Swede. So I think that Spain are the team kind of to beat because of their reputation in Europe. They are multiple time international champions in World Cups and the Euro. So I don't know if Sweden are going to be, at the top of the, in the 1 spot, but I do think that they're capable of getting the 2 spot. I have Poland 1, Sweden 2, Spain 3, and Slovakia 4. I actually don't think Spain get out of the group.
That is far from what the general pick was.
Oh, I know. I don't think they get out of the group. I actually don't.
I definitely agree with you that I'm not convinced on Spain. I've been looking at the squad while you're talking. They do not have any attack power that I'm
I
fully
know.
convinced.
That's why.
They have a youngster, Pedri, 18. I think he's a Barca.
Yep.
The 2 guys from La Liga that are decent. Morata.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy Traore made the squad from Wolves.
Fraud.
Fernand Torres going forward. They have a solid holding mid core. You have Busquets, who I think confirmed COVID, so I don't know how long he'll be out.
See ya.
I think it's just him on the squad. Thiago, Koke, Rodri in there, so they have a solid And while you were talking, I was shocked. Laporte is on the squad, even though I thought he was French.
No, he just signed over, literally 2 weeks ago.
Wow, just so he could start. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because Ramos didn't make the team, so that's why.
yeah,
Um, and then Eric Garcia, who just moved back to Barcelona, I think he has
yep,
a release clause of 400 million pounds.
yep,
Um, Aspi, absolute club legend at Chelsea, and Jordi Alba at 32, I think is he's the joint oldest. Him and
yeah,
Busquets are the oldest there.
yep,
And then De Gea in goal. So, and then the Robert Sanchez from Brighton. He's a backup goalie.
yeah,
Happy to see him on there. So yeah, I'm not totally convinced on them. I was definitely thinking about putting Poland first
yeah. I
because
have them.
I love Lewandowski up there, but
Yeah,
I just don't know how deep their squad is. I think right now Lewandowski's probably the top three, maybe even top two best strikers.
yeah,
Up there with Holland and Mbappe,
yeah,
but I just do not know how deep their squad can go here, and I don't know if they have that experience. But um, I think I'm going to go with the standard just to be safe. I'm going to go Spain 1, Poland 2, Sweden 3, and then Slovakia last. I'm
yeah.
not totally convinced on Sweden. I do like some of the key players they have on their team. I know they have a young Isaac up top. I forget where.
Yes.
I think he used to play for Dortmund, but moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Olsen in goal, Lindelof in the back. He's going to be really showing his leadership back there on his own now, not have Maguire holding his hand. Other than that, they have Forsberg. I recognize that name.
My
Sebastian Larsson's on
That's
the
my
squad.
demon. Emil Forsberg's my favorite player. My
I don't
favorite
know
Swedish
how.
player.
I don't know how Seb Larsson made this squad at 36, but
Unreal.
he's probably going to be the captain. And then other than Isaac, they have Marcus Berg up there. So they're definitely obviously capable of pulling off some upsets. I'm
And
definitely
Ibra, dude, he's in the team.
he is, yeah. So he's definitely going to be in there too. So I definitely see them making it through into the knockout round because this group will be very competitive.
Yeah, I will be like super curious. I'll be watching this with my eyes peeled. I think this is going to be one of the better groups. I really like watching Poland play. I've watched a lot of their qualifying matches. Not seen a lot of Sweden in terms of qualifying this year. It's hard to find some of the qualifying games.
Right.
But from what I've seen with Spain, like they're very slow. And that midfield, if you look at the midfield, it is extremely slow. They're lacking pace. They are not lacking experience though. So it's all about, how the tournament kind of dictates itself. Sometimes you see teams with more experience play better. Sometimes you see teams with more talent play better. So we'll have to see. I think the World Cup, you saw talent sort of outshine the experience. And I think growing up, we were watching an era where experience was actually more important. When I think about the Italian teams and the Spanish teams, like you had guys that were playing in their late 30s or mid 30s that were just dominating still. PK and Sergio Ramos come to mind. They were in their mid 30s when Spain were early 30s maybe, when Spain were super dominant. Same with David Silva, and those teams were unfucking believable.
Yeah.
So I think this will be one of those tournaments where individual talent shines through. We'll see if I'm proven wrong. But yeah, I have Poland 1, Sweden 2, Spain 3, Slovakia 4. We'll have to see. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
But we will move on to the nightmare. I don't even think is Slovakia even worth talking about? I don't know anything about them.
Nah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll move on to Group F, which is our group of death. I'm gonna start from the bottom here. Hungary, you're not making it through. The only
It
player,
hurts.
the only player I know that you have is Gulasi, the keeper for
Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Yeah.
So I don't really know any other players than him. And then the rest of this, I mean, this is an absolute toss up.
It's so unfortunate that they're all in there together because
I
if
know
any of them could win the group.
any of them could win the tournament, these three teams.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough.
So for me, I'm gonna give you what I have, and then we'll have a discussion about why I have it. But I have France 1, World Cup champions, also just unbelievably stacked. Like
Yeah.
in every single position, they have
Yep.
two of the best players in the world. Like it's just unreal. They have everybody they could possibly want. Two, I have Germany, who I think are bouncing back after a brief rebuilding period. Three, I
Okay.
have Portugal because
Yeah.
Penaldo and the gang are frauds.
Mm.
Even though they won the last Euro, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That was like a million years ago.
I guess.
On bullshit too. That was a fluke.
Yeah, I agree with you. France won. Sucks for Hungary because I'm Hungarian a little bit in there, so
Oh dang.
those guys absolutely get shafted. But
Rip, dude.
I'm on the opposite with you. I got Portugal 2, Germany 3.
Okay.
I was just looking at the three squads, and I think Portugal have a fucking stacked attack
Yeah, they
going
they
forward.
actually do. It is
I
solid.
think with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, because we've never seen this before. We've never seen him play with Ronaldo at this level. So it's going to be
True.
interesting to see their dynamic. And then the supporting cast of Bernardo Silva. They'll have Diego Jota. You said he was one of the best buys from this year.
Yeah.
He's in there. João Felix being shadowed over by Ronaldo, obviously, just like pretty much all these players. So it'll be interesting that dynamic with him and how all these players play with him. And I think that their defense looks absolutely peak.
Yeah.
João Cancelo and Ruben Diaz back there, absolute studs for Man City this year. I think they carry that over. Pepe's 38 years old. Jose
Dude,
Fonte at
he's so
37,
old.
questionable. So I don't know. I think any game they're in is going to be an absolute barn burner because of their attack, and their defense is really going to have to rely on Felix or on Diaz and Cancelo. Germany, I think the Chelsea drama with Werner and Havertz is going to carry over. I think his bullshit's going to continue. I think they're going to have key situations that he's just going to miss. It's tough for me to say that because their team is fucking stacked.
Yeah.
Mueller in these tournaments is absolutely
He's
ferocious
unreal,
too.
dude. He just like comes out of his cocoon and scores 15 goals and then goes back into hibernation every year.
It's just tough because the more we talk about it, the more I could flip flop these in any direction.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
I definitely see France finishing one, so that's how I see it.
This Germany team is full of absolute studs, dude.
Yeah.
Defensively, I think it could be sus, but the amount of talent they have going forward, if they actually put Timo, Kai Havertz, Leroy Sané, and Gnabry in every lineup, I don't see how they don't score 3 goals every game. There is
Yeah.
so much there's so much foot skill and pace in those 4 players.
Hmm.
That's not even counting the middle of the park where you're gonna have Gundogan who's coming off an unbelievable season. Guys
True.
like Muller who could be playing in I don't know if it's gonna be a false nine because sometimes he does play center forward. He excels
Yeah.
there. I have no idea what they're going to come out with, but I think that the middle of their team could be really really solid too. You have Goretzka who is on so many different steroids. I'm not even going to talk about it now, but
Yeah.
he is an absolute monster ape of a human being. He
Hmm.
used to be this tiny little skinny fuck, and now he's just massive, and he
Yeah.
dominates. He's so good. And then you have Ter Stegen, who's a fantastic keeper, and then Kimmich, and the list goes on and on and on. And I know that Portugal team is really solid as well. It's a stronger team than when they won the Euro last. So um,
100%.
it'll be super interesting to see. You, like you said, you have Ronaldo, you have Fernandez, you have Jota. That's an unreal three. Then you have João Felix to put in there on top of that. Then you have a solid defense. You have guys like Jose Fonte who have been playing in this sort of competition for a long time now. Pereira, solid. Cancelo, young but very solid. So we'll have to see. Renato Sanchez is another one to keep your eye out for. I know he's in France now, but he's a sort of player that may be trying to earn his way back to a really expensive transfer. He had one, and then he got sent out. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. But this could be a really, really, really interesting group. Dude, if Hungary somehow qualifies, I'm just done watching. So
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they get more than 2 points.
yeah, I would too. But I think we've said all there is to say about these 4 teams. Hungary, I'm sorry. Galassi, I'm rooting for you, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
So the next, it actually looks like we are going to be able to predict the knockout stage. So we'll move through this.
Well, we first got to pick out of the 6 third place teams. We have to pick 4 that are going to move on.
Yeah, I have mine. So I want to hear yours first, though.
All right. So I know earlier I said Scotland, but the way it worked out, I don't see them moving on.
Okay.
So Wales, have coming out of Group A.
Okay.
I think that group's going to be very tight, as well as Russia. I
Yeah.
think those will be very tight groups, especially between second to fourth. I think they'll steal points off each other. Sweden, and then obviously Germany. So those are my four.
All right, cool. I have Switzerland coming out of Group A. Like we said, I think Switzerland and Wales are kind of interchangeable. So you have Wales coming out of there in Group A. I have
Yeah.
Switzerland. Then I have Scotland coming out of Group D. I'm going to show
Okay.
Scotland some love. Spain, I have coming through obviously in Group E because I do think it's a tight group. And then I have Portugal coming out of Group F, and like it was so easy for me to pick them. I have no qualms
All
with
right.
any of them.
So I think our round of 16s might be a little bit different. I don't know
Yeah.
because you have Scotland in there, and like it'll be interchangeable. So we'll go through it.
Okay. I'm pressing continue now. So
Yeah.
in my first matchup in the
Yeah.
round of 16, I have Belgium and Spain.
Whoa.
I'm picking Belgium to go through that. And then in the other one I have Italy and Austria, which I'm picking Italy to go through. And then should we just go through all of our round of 16
I
matchups?
think I think let's just go two at a time.
Okay, that's
Like you
good.
do two, and I'll do two. Okay.
Go ahead.
So your first one was Belgium and Spain. That's a fucking tough one at the start.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome if that happens. But mine is Belgium and Sweden.
Okay.
I don't think Sweden will have enough to beat this Belgium team. De
Yeah.
Bruyne should be back by this point. I think Belgium will walk them. And then I have Italy and Austria as well. It might be a very close match here, but I do see Italy getting the upper hand on them.
Okay. Next one I have is France versus Switzerland. Could be an interesting one. I'm gonna pick France though. They're my favorites. I think that they're eventually gonna win the tournament, so I have to pick them. The next one I have is Croatia and Sweden, which could be extremely interesting. This
Mm,
is one of those matchups where I think the teams are in terms of like pace and attacking prowess kind of
yeah.
matched up. So if we're gonna see Ibra, I know he's had some sort of injury thing, and I don't know
Mhm.
like if he's how much he's gonna be playing. If we
Yeah.
see Ibra, I want to give the edge to Sweden, but I don't know if we're gonna see him.
Right.
Um, I think for my own sake, I'm gonna have to go with Sweden here. I don't think Croatia are the real deal anymore.
Let's go.
Yeah,
All right. So you had France and Switzerland. Like you said, Wales and them are interchangeable. So if Wales takes their place from me, France is just going to overpower Wales. I definitely do not see them holding up here. And N'Golo Kante in the middle is the best midfielder in the world right now. Absolute stud. So they'll move on. And then Croatia and Sweden you had. I have Croatia, Poland.
okay,
But I agree with you. I don't think Croatia is the real deal here. I'm going to move on with Poland.
awesome. Next thing I have is Poland versus Scotland.
Oh,
In that one, I'm gonna pick Poland. I think Scotland are not quite there. I don't think they'll ever be there. I think Poland are a much stronger team, all over. So I'm gonna have to go with them. And then the next matchup I have is England versus Germany, and
holy fuck.
it's so hard, dude. This is such a hard one. I picked these like a jackass because I'm giving myself such hard fucking
So early.
I know, and that's the thing. It's so early, so. Oh, I actually have no idea. Like I have no idea how to pick this. This game would be at Wembley, by the way.
Yeah. Um,
So
is it coming home?
I'm gonna give the edge to England because I think
Oh,
being at Wembley actually, and there's
no advantage.
it's supposed to be 25% fans, which isn't a lot, but those English fans are fucking insane. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the edge to England. I think they beat Germany out.
All right. My first matchup here is a rematch from the knockout stage of the last World Cup, Spain versus Russia, and that dramatic penalty shootout.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think Spain gets the revenge here. I think they should have a little bit more juice than Russia. And then in the next matchup, I have England, like you, but their opponent is Portugal. Um, I'm not like that England Germany matchup. I'm totally not convinced about England here. I don't know if they're clutch. They have so many young players in there that have not been put on the main stage at the international level, to where if they pulled through, Um, I don't know because I think Ronaldo could definitely ruin a bunch of English fans' um, years here. But I think I'm going to do the same as you. I think I'm going to give England the nod, and I think Ronaldo is going to fall out of the tournament early here.
All right, cool. Next one I have is Netherlands Portugal. This could be another really good matchup. I'm gonna give the edge to Portugal here. Uh, Matt, you've kind of convinced me on the Portugal thing. I'm kind of feeling them
Yeah.
now. So I'm gonna take Portugal over the Netherlands, and then we have Wales versus Denmark in the next, in my final round of 16 matchup. And I'm going to take Denmark. I just don't think Wales have enough in terms of pace in the middle of the park to get it done versus Denmark. Denmark are certainly a more talented team, more seasoned team. Those guys get more reps. Wales, a couple of the guys get reps. I love Joe Allen. He's one of my all-time FIFA favorites, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Portugal or with Denmark rather, sorry.
Okay. All right. In my leg, I have Netherlands as well, but their opponent will be Germany. I think Germany get them
Mm,
here easily. I don't think that Netherlands has the depth as Germany does. And then in my next matchup, I have Switzerland, Denmark. I think Switzerland is going to be a solid team here. I think they can sneak through here against Denmark, who's not a powerhouse squad. Definitely something they would look forward to in the round of 16. So I think they move on to face Germany in the final eight.
okay, awesome.
Back to the top.
Yep. I have Belgium and Italy in my first quarterfinal matchup, and I'm gonna go with Belgium straight up. They're a better team. They have more. They have more class. Defensively, I don't know if they're as solid, but offensively, they have way more threats. You're really kind of just relying on Insigne and Immobile on that Italian team, so I'm gonna give Belgium the edge here. In the next matchup for the quarterfinals, I have France and Sweden. As much as I
Mhm.
would love to say Sweden win, I do not think they're
Imagine.
beating France. So I'm gonna put France, and that'll be a battle in the semis between two neighboring countries, Belgium and
Yeah.
France. Go ahead. I'll let you do your top semifinal one.
Yeah, I have Belgium and Italy as well. I think Belgium get the leg here. I think Lukaku's going to run over all of his teammates in there from Italy. I think that'll be easy for them. And then my opponent for France instead of Sweden would be Poland. And I think France do the same thing as they would to Sweden. I think they roll them there too. It's so tough to go against them here because of the squads and the players. Just it's stacked.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Next thing, my bottom half of the quarters, I have Poland and England playing each other. I think England come through. I think they beat Poland. Lewandowski is kind of doing this alone, honestly, and I don't think he.
Always.
Yeah, like yeah, true. I don't really think that just Lewandowski can beat that entire like crazy young buzzing English group of players. And then I have Portugal versus Denmark, which I have Portugal coming out of. And then we got the final up next.
So yeah, I think England. I have England, Spain here. I think England win again. It's gonna be so tough for them to win these games because they don't have the track record of doing well in these tournaments. I don't even remember the last time they won a Euro.
Yeah.
Must have been a while ago, but I think they do it over Spain here. And then my next matchup is Germany, Switzerland. I think Germany get the job done. So it puts us both in an interesting semifinal matchup.
All right. And then we have our semis. So Belgium versus France and England versus Portugal. I think France beat Belgium. Um, this could go the other way too. Like I actually definitely think Belgium will be in a semifinal. Their team is just too good. But I do have France coming through it. And then on the bottom half, I have England beating Portugal. So it'll be a France England final for me, which that game will be at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced entirely on how Belgium's defense will hold up against this French attack with the likes of Mbappe, Griezmann. You could definitely throw Giroud in there to throw a wrench into their plans.
Yep.
It's a completely different style player. Their defense is solid. Varane in the back, kind of overrated at times, but they have other players in there as well to help him. So yeah, France in the final, and then in the other leg here, a historical one, England Germany. Um, my gut instinct says to go with England, but at the same time, with that clutch factor and knowing how to manage these moments, I think Germany has a lot more players that are used to these situations, having to clutch up. But I'm just going to roll with the tide. I think it's going to come home into this final matchup like you. I'm going to go with France England.
All right, cool. I actually that's hilarious that we wound up in the same exact thing. France England in the final. Different roads to get there, but the same finished product. And you think France win or England win?
I mean, right away I click France
Okay, yeah,
because
me too.
I can't see. I shouldn't say I can't see, but with N'Golo Kante coming off the year he had in the middle, he plays the role of two players in there, which for Paul Pogba in there gives him so much more freedom to go forward, and that's where he thrives. They have other guys like Lamar, Kingsley Coman, who we kind of forget about, absolutely dominates at Bayern.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the Mbappe factor and Benzema. Benzema's there. Benzema is one of the most underrated strikers. He could definitely play a factor into helping assist those guys. Um, it's just going to come down to who's willing to put it on the line. And I definitely think England can do that. I think with Mount and Foden, guys coming off the years they've had, can really inject some adrenaline into this team and some grit and show those older guys that we've been there. We played at these big stage moments recently in the Champions League final. We can grind out results. But I just think France overpower them, and I'm going to be just like the mainstream crowd. I'm going to pick the overall favorite, which is France.
All right, cool. We're in agreement. By the way, Brendan Aronson just scored for the men's national team a few moments ago, and then DK just hit
Nice.
one off the post. So, the U.S. men's national team's turning a goddamn corner. It looks like.
Yeah, I need to see consistent results. Like I said after that Mexico win, I was absolutely excited about it,
Yeah,
but it's got to be consistent. We can't win a huge game like that and then do a repeat of the World Cup qualifiers where we fucking choke against Trinidad or
yeah.
Jamaica.
I know, but
That should not be happening. And
uh,
I think that for the Gold Cup, they're going to change up the squad. They're going to take a lot of MLS guys just before World Cup qualifiers come around. They're going to really Berhalter's going to see how many MLS guys he wants to bring,
yeah,
who he wants to bring back from that team. And at the end of the day, you need to have the best of the best on that team.
yeah, I agree. And we are producing better players now, and also taking
Yeah.
taking players from that would otherwise be going to other countries, like
Yeah,
Yunus Musa and guys like that. That's a huge thing.
that's been a huge thing the past decade. The dual citizenships and guys changing things. Like I didn't even see that Laporte thing happen. Like things can just happen out
It
of the
just
blue.
happens. Like Diego Costa did it. Like it happens all the time. So yeah, all right, guys, that's it for us. We're both picking Spain to win Euro 2020. I actually think that that's a pretty good shout. I think that I'll be placing my future bets, and I actually cannot wait to gamble on the Euro. I'm so excited.
Yep.
It'll be such a blast.
Yep. First game is Friday. Opening up Turkey, Italy, 3 o'clock.
Yep, which could be interesting, but I'll be curious to see how Italy plays. I'll pretty much be watching it for them. So everybody, keep your eyes peeled for more Euro content. Matt and I will be, I guess, for the next couple of weeks, kind of recapping the games that we watch and going over some general sports news. Nothing really too exciting going on, but we are certainly excited. I'd say for the Euro for sure.
Yeah.
So be ready. Keep your eye out for content. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, guys, make sure you check out our socials at Post20 on Instant Twitter. Follow us on all of our streaming platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. Um, and also, if you're a visual user, or if you like watching the videos, I should say, check out our YouTube,
Yeah.
Post20 podcast or Post20. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, be notified whenever we produce new content, whether it's a format like this or long drawn out episodes, or if in the past you guys have seen one of our live streams during games, we may be able to do a stream for one of the bigger games. Who knows? We'll see in the future. But other than that, I love the month of June because things like this will happen, especially in a year like this with the Euros. And it's we were both born in June. My birthday is the 15th, which is next week, and
Yep.
we have we have Portugal, Hungary, and then the France Germany game. So I'm gonna be loving it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
can't wait.
it's good times around here right now. A lot of good things in the sports world. A lot of good things everywhere else. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.